Well, good morning. I'm Bob Abair. It's one of my partners, Dan Marino. We're a six-man consulting firm from the Boston area. And in Boston, we really do talk like this, by the way. We saw some aggressive driving in New Jersey in the last few weeks that we've been coming down. But in Boston, we're even more aggressive drivers than you people. We'll even pass in the car wash if we have an opportunity to do that. So all of those rumors about Boston being bad drivers is absolutely true. And we really talk like this. Today we're going to have a good time. We're going to talk a little bit about ERP optimization. I've been a consultant for 25 years, owned our own consulting firm for 25 years, and been dealing with ERP and lean during that entire time. And the one thing that we've seen, by the way, is people struggle, and struggle significantly with the utilization of ERP. It's a tremendous problem that we have right now. Although there's phenomenally good methodologies on how we install ERP, most of the people that install it, especially for the first time, don't reap the benefits out of it. So today we're going to talk a little bit about why that is, what's happened in companies, and what some of the things that you can maybe do about it, what some of the new ways to think about ERP. We're going to spend a couple of slides just talking to you about lean, because when you're installing ERP, you have an unbelievable opportunity to rethink how you're going to run your business. And you don't get that opportunity a lot. In order to rethink about and envision about your business, you really need to have a significant event taking place, and installing ERP is a pretty significant event. It's costly, it takes a lot of resources, it takes a lot of time and energy. So if we're going to think about doing something different, this is the time to develop a new vision. Those of you that maybe skipped that step and installed ERP, you maybe need to take a step back now and say, what do I need to do? What's my vision for this company? We talked about those three things that Sheldon talked about earlier, about people and technology and processes. We've got to rethink about our processes totally differently. If you're going to talk about putting in a quotation system, you're going to put in a quotation system that is unbelievably competitive. You're going to have a vision for your quotation system that says, we will never allow a customer to hang up. We will never call a customer back when they call for a quote. We are going to answer that quote online. And we're going to put a quotation system in that can do that. The minute we say to the customer, we'll have to call you back with the number, that customer has the opportunity now to start dialing and look somewhere else. And that's catastrophic, because as much as we all like to think we have a unique product or service, the fact of the matter is today you can find almost anything, the same type of good, the same type of service somewhere else. We can't allow that. So you need a vision if you're going to put in a quotation system that says, same minute, same desk, same person, this thing never goes anywhere, we're going to be able to answer 99%. Now somebody, if you're selling motorcycles and somebody calls up and wants to buy a nuclear reactor, you may have to call them back. But the vast majority of quotes should be done online. That's a vision. The vast majority of time, if you're a distributor and somebody calls you and you give them a quote and say you'll ship it, and if you don't have it, you should be able to hit function key 4, and that good is automatically ordered from your supplier for you. You should not need to go through, we're going to requisition this, we're going to send it to the purchasing department, and the purchasing department's going to place the purchase order. That's the wrong vision. Although Navision will do that very well, it'll also do it by hitting a function key if you want to think and dream that way. So today we're going to talk about a dream. And what you need to do when you're talking about, when we talk about making ERP really a wonderful tool, remember what an ERP system is. It's where your business rules reside. Your business rules are your lead times, your lot sizes, your safety stocks, your min-max multiples, your pallet configurations, your bills of materials, your units of measures, your scrap factors. Those are your business rules. And many times, by the way, we walk into companies and we look at that entire database and they're all wrong. The lead times don't match what's really going on. The lot sizes are different. The safety stocks are different. So when we're talking about ERP optimization, we're saying let's take a look at all that data, let's build a vision, and let's ask ourselves how we want to run the business in the future. As part of that, I want to take a few minutes and just give you a couple of overheads and talk about lean. What the heck is lean? Look at this definition, by the way. Oh, by the way, this presentation is all on your disc. Those of you that you check in, we have a CD, by the way, and this presentation is all on it, so you don't have to go crazy taking notes. But look at this definition of lean. Lean manufacturing is the fundamental rethinking. Fundamentally rethinking your business and a radical redesign of business and supply chain processes. We are looking for dramatic improvements in any way you measure your company. Speed, cost, quality, and service. Dramatic improvements. If you got a 4-week lead time from a supplier for something, I'm talking about 1 or 2 day lead times. That's the improvement. If you're a manufacturer and you got a 4-week manufacturing lead time on the floor, how are we going to make this in 1 or 2 days or 1 week? We're not talking about going from 4 weeks to 3 weeks. We're talking about a whole new thought for us. How many here have rush orders? Raise your hands if you have rush orders. Raise your hands. Oh, look at it. Everybody's got their hands up rush orders. Why do we have rush orders in America? What's the reasons for some rush orders? Well, what's the reason?
Lack of planning.
Lack of planning, inventory errors, scrap, rework, customer's an idiot, doesn't understand your lead time, right? Is that all the reasons? So we say, who is the stupid customer that wants this faster than what I can supply? He must be a drooler. Fact of the matter is, most people have rush orders because you haven't fundamentally decided yet that rush orders are your business. They're not a disruption to your business. That's your business. Same day, next day delivery is your business. If you start quoting 6-week deliveries, they can get that in China. We go into some companies and we'll say, how long does it take us to pick this? Well, the warehouse wants 2 days picking lead time. So I can drive to Detroit and back in 2 days. What the hell are they doing? The warehouse is down the hall. Isn't that true? And by the way, some of you in the company, you've got those parameters right in your ERP system. We're 2 days lead time for the pick list. You've got to have a different vision. When we produce a production order, or if you're a distributor and you're entering an order, you press a button, and that next second, that pick list is printing out in that department, in that picking department. And they're going to pick it within a couple of hours, and that's going out by noontime, if that's an 8 o'clock call. That's the vision. So let's talk, when we talk about this radical redesign and dramatic improvements, that's what we want you to think about. Now look at this next one. There were 5 lean principles. This is a book. Those of you that are installing ERP, whether you're a manufacturer, distributor, we have a big combination of both here. Mandatory reading, easy reading, we call it toilet tank reading. You put it on the back of the toilet tank in 15 days, let me get through it. Pretty good reading. But in any case, this guy, this Jim Womack especially, looked at the Toyota model and he said, what did Toyota do that was so fantastic? And he said, they focused on 5 things. Why did they scoop the market share? Why the heck is GM in the trouble that they're in? Ford closing all of these plants, 30,000 workers going to be unemployed. What's going on? What was their model? Why was their model so successful? And he said, they did 5 things. The first thing they did was they focused on value. They went to the customer and they said, what creates value? So if the customer, if you're making a pen or if you're making this cloth, that LED creates value. I need the numbers to come out of it. That creates a lot of value. However, if I had a purchase order to buy that LED, creates no value. So Toyota said, then you can't have purchase orders when you buy. Creates no value. I can only do things in my company that create value. That was the first premise. The second premise was, I've got to talk about a value stream. I've got to take a look at all of my processes. From the customer's customer to the supplier's supplier, I've got to look at that entire process and I've got to remove everything that doesn't add value. I'm going to flowchart all the activity, the information flow, the product flow. If it doesn't add value, I'm getting rid of it. The next thing they said was, we got to have everything flowing. In business, all the studies were done and said nothing flows, everything chunks. If you're a manufacturer, you do something on Work Center 1, it sits for a day, then it goes to Work Center 2. Sometimes sits for a week. Then they do it again, Work Center 2, it sits for another day, and everything's chugging, nothing's flowing. And the distributor, you need a quote, goes to somebody's desk and gets in queue, then does this, and then the purchasing department calls the supplier for a quote, and that sits for 3 or 4 days because the supplier's not acting, and it comes back, and it's going from desk to desk. Everything, whether it's information or whether it's product, everything's chugging, it's not flowing. Driving us all nuts, by the way. Driving us all nuts. The fourth thing they said was, we've got to start pulling. We've got to start, because MRP systems, ERP systems, are push systems. They look at a forecast. How many here have a good forecast, by the way, in your company? Anybody here have a good forecast? Forget it, you were never going to get one. So one person in this room that has any idea when you're going to buy your next anything, and you want your sales department to tell you exactly when your customers are going to order, forget it. Your customers are not that reliable, and they order when they feel like it. And your job is to build an MRP system, an ERP system, whether it's on your factory floor or it's in your distribution, that will react to a lousy forecast. That's your job. That's your job. Your job isn't to try to, now by the way, it's very good if you try to get better. There are better forecasting tools available to us, some of them in Navision even, but you better be careful because you're never going to get a good forecast. So you're going to have that mindset of something different. So we've got to talk about looking what that customer wants and figuring out how to pull product through rather than to push it into your distribution warehouse or push it into your manufacturing facility. And then the fifth point, they said, strive for perfection, get very good at high quality. But they didn't just talk about high quality in their products, they talked about high quality in their processes. Error-proofing order entry, error-proofing bill of material design, error-proofing picking process and the shipping process. Okay, so when they were talking about perfection, they never got to perfection. The Japanese Americans, even GE, when they started their lean program, they called it Six Sigma, which is a nirvana or a quality standard. They're saying we're going to strive for perfection, even though we're not going to get to 3 defects per million, 3.4 defects per million, but they said we're going to strive for perfection. So that was the model. It said, understand what's add value, and if it doesn't add value, get rid of it, flow everything through your company at a dreamed of speed, and strive for unbelievable high levels of quality, whether it's process or process. They also said in this book that there's 7 key wastes. And they outlined, they said, first waste is the waste of transportation, of material movement, driving everybody nuts. Move the machines together, do everything you can, move desks together, put the desks in honeycombs, do whatever you need to do so information and product is flowing with very, very little transportation costs. Okay, we do not want to move goods around, set up cells on your factory floor if you're a manufacturer. The next one they said, get rid of all the inventory. Get rid of all the inventory. You distributors, by the way, this is an unbelievable marketing opportunity for you. Get all of your customers on vendor-managed inventories and on consignment and all of this stuff. What's the difference? If you own the inventory at your client site, at your customer site, or in your warehouse, you've got them as a captive source now. They can't go anywhere else when your inventory is on their site. Phenomenal marketing opportunity. Got some wonderful tools with Microsoft and Navision to do a lot of this stuff. That's that dream and that vision. How am I going to use that software for a real competitive edge? What are the things that I need to do to really make sure I'm competing with that software? So inventory, I got to think about a whole new way for inventory. The other big waste is waste of movements, period. We want to be like a McDonald's. A McDonald's, you go in, you order the hamburger, and somebody turns around, takes 2 steps, and that entire process can be fulfilled. The hamburgers are coming down the chute, and the cookies are right there, and the soda's being filled, and the only thing that's not there is the French fries, because that's a safety issue. And so they've got the French fry cooker over to the side, because that's the only thing that can catch fire in a McDonald's. So they don't want it there. But other than that, they're filling it right there. That's the way we got to think about our business, is everything that an individual needs right at hand. Is it really efficient? The next thing around the 7 wastes, the 4th waste was the waste of waiting. Human beings waiting for a maintenance man. Human beings waiting for a supervisor. Human beings waiting for material. Machines down. Material handlers, they don't have it. So all the waste that occurs in the company because of wasting them. And it says, if you believe that these are the 7 wastes, do you have a program in your company to attack all of those and get them out? You want to reduce costs, you go after these 7 wastes. If you don't go after these 7 wastes, the only way you're going to reduce costs is, like Sheldon said, you're going to lay off somebody. Because you can't manage it any other way. You've got to get in there. You've got to manage it at the line item level. You can't manage it at that top payroll level. It won't be effective. 5th one was the waste of over-processing, doing things twice. And it's not just rework of the product. It's doing things twice. Oh my God, we got a defective invoice. We charged them for freight we weren't supposed to, or we got to issue a credit. Sure, that doesn't happen to most of the people in this room. It's driving companies nuts. And you see the amount of exceptions to the process that we have to make. Now, does Navision handle rework and credits and all of this stuff? Oh, sure, software does a great job of it. A lot of pain. A lot of pain, a lot of human interaction. All of that stuff you can't put on automatic. You can put a tremendous amount of ERP type thinking on automatic, but the minute all this exception stuff comes in, all has to have people interaction. Multiple people. And then somebody in auto entry issues a credit, and they send it into accounting, and accounting comes back, who authorized this? And now dialogue starts, all the BS that goes on in the company, back and forth. What an exhausting process. So it says, I've got to get rid of that over-processing. I've got to develop a vision on a new way to run the business. And over-production says, customer wants 5, I'm a distributor, I got to go out and buy 50 because that's the minimum order quantity. That's unbelievable waste. Product that you might not be able to move, or you might have to really discount to move, and have a lot of special interaction to move. So we've got to have a whole new approach to handling that. And the other waste is the waste of defective scrap, rework, warranty cost out in the field, return goods, all of that stuff. And it says, and by the way, when you read the book, it's absolutely fantastic. It says, do you have a program for every one of those elements? Are you going to really dedicate yourself to think differently about how you run your business around those 7 wastes? And if you do, and then how are you going to use that ERP system as a key enabler? See, I'm talking thoughtware here, not software. We've got to rethink how we're going to run our business, and when we rethink how we're going to run our business, then we look to Navision or any other software product as the key enabler to help us do this. Your mission, then, is to dramatically reduce inventory. Look at this. Dramatically reduce inventory. You're going to talk about lean. Whether you're a lean distributor or whether you're a lean manufacturer, you've got to dramatically reduce your lead times. Unheard of lead times. 75, 90% reduction in lead times. You've got to dramatically reduce costs, but notice that one in the corner. That's what's missed in the dream for most companies. You've got to establish seamless business processes. An example of a seamless business process is when I want to order something, Navision gives me a message. And it says, here's a planned order. It says, enter a purchase order or enter a production order. That's not a seamless business process. It would be if I took that production order and automatically sent it to the floor without planner intervention. It would be if I would send that purchase order automatically to the supplier or distributor and told them to get it in. That would be auto ERP. No planner intervention, no buyer intervention on repetitive orders. That's a seamless business process. Your system will do that if you dream. Your system will do it if you dream. If you don't dream, you're going to have a buyer calling up, ordering corrugated with the same amount of energy to order a nickel item as they take to order a nuclear reactor. The stuff that they do over and over and over again. Unbelievable, painful process. When you've got the ability to think paperless, transactionless. So we talk about seamless business processes. We want you to make it believe your suppliers are just down the hall. Send them a dispatch list. You don't need to send them a purchase order. Send them an alert. We've got this powerful alert engines. You guys can program this to do anything you want. If you dream, you have this vision. ERP successes. Sheldon talked a little bit to this. We've got a couple of overheads here. I don't want to spend a lot of time. Out of the Aberdeen group and out of the AME group, some statistics. 70% of all companies that have installed ERP systems failed to achieve any significant return on investment. This was a 5 to 8 year study. We can't believe it. We have the greatest tools right now to install ERP. There's no failures anymore. People don't, there used to be failures in the 70s and 80s. We had companies that would back out. We don't have failures anymore. But what we do have is ERP systems being installed in a lot of companies that are not really using it to develop a competitive edge. They spent the money and they're not reaping the benefits of it. That's what that really means. And 70%, look at these statistics, 75% of all ERP implementations fail to optimize the benefits and promises associated with ERP. We all promise we're going to reduce inventories. We all promise we're going to try to use this to manage efficiency, that we're going to automate our processes and all of this stuff. And we don't usually get to that. We rush to install, we install, and then the big benefit is what should happen 6 months later as we really try to reinvent ourselves around all this new technology. And it doesn't happen in most companies. They're on to something else now. They're exhausted by the process. They don't even want to hear implementation anymore. And they go and do something else. And that's a shame, because this is very, very powerful technology. Look at this next one. Here's what's caused this. Look at, there's 2 or 3 books out right now that have really spent a lot of time talking about this. The dilemma with the books is it can bring you down a little bit. It says, this is all the things that went wrong. The good news is there's phenomenal, easy solutions to a lot of this. But look at this. ERP software was installed to mirror a set of existing, often inadequate business processes. The tribal knowledge that went in. The legacy systems went in. You had a way of doing things in the past. We like those old loafers. It's difficult for people to think about change, so we install ERP the same way. Isn't that true? Isn't that the way we are? Human beings hate change. We all have to face that, by the way. I mean, I'm a change agent. That's what our company does. But I hate it. I get in a rental car and I can never find the windshield wipers. I say, why didn't they put the windshield wipers in the same place in every car? And I mean, but they don't. And if you're going to be in this business at 11 o'clock at night, I got to figure out how to turn on the windshield wipers. And I don't always get it right if it starts to pour in the turnpike. And, squirting the stuff and everything's going right. So what the heck is going on here? And so I'm frustrated, but that's business. But that's business. So we've got to understand when we do this, we've got to undo it. We've got to go back and say, okay, if we did it, what are we going to do about it next? Look at this other reason. Organizations were ill-prepared to conform to best industry practices. You know why organizations? Sheldon talked about it earlier. The senior management and middle management doesn't have time to go to workshops to find out what world-class means. What is happening out there anyway? What is a world-class distributor? Has anybody made a list of those? What the heck? Is a world-class distributor cross-docking 60 or 70% of their product? Or direct shipping? How are they doing that? And if I'm a distributor, I better have a dream for that. But if you don't go to the workshops and you don't define world-class, you won't install an ERP system with world-class technology, with world-class software. So I see this line all the time. Best in industry, you've got to sit down and define it. What's your competition doing? And not only what are they doing, where are they going? What's the trends? We can compete here in America. There's still 450,000 manufacturers in America, over 1 million distributors. We can compete. You know, we don't have to all roll over and play dead. But it's going to be tougher to compete, and we have to talk about world class. You're not going to be able to compete against Japan, but you're going to compete against that distributor manufacturer down the street. And you're going to do something unbelievably untold better than what they're doing. And you'll get market share. You notice when Sheldon put up that chart, what has changed from 2005 to 2006 and 2000. All the early 2000s, we were so focused on cost cutting, we forgot to measure that, to manage that top line. We've got to get business in here. If you start lean programs, you've got to start them in sales. You've got to figure out how to close business. And you're going to do that, by the way, by understanding what world class is. Look at this next one. Management did not take the time to answer the question, how do we want to run the business? How do you want to run your business? Do you want one-day quotes? You want next-day quotations? You want same-day shipping? You want one-hour shipping? Do you want on-the-phone quotation? Do you want Salesforce automation? Do you want quotation systems on all your salesmen's laptops? Do you want your quotation system on the internet? I want a dream for you here. Those questions are going to be answered if you're going to beat the competition so that the quotation process is easy. That's part of your dream. How do you want to run the business? And look, this is another reason why we've struggled with ERP. Pre-implementation activities were not well understood and not well done. And pre-implementation activities, the main one is what we call systems mapping. It says that we're really going to map what the old system does, what the new system can do, and what are all the gaps, and what are we going to do about those gaps? And how fast do we want to change and rethink? And a lot of companies want to skip that. Can you just get this data in this old system? Because I just got to get accurate inventories. I just need an inventory system. I just need to be able to enter orders. As long as we can enter orders, we're okay. Some of the next reasons. IT concentration may have been on technical wizardry and not focused on business excellence issues. You know, you got an IT person that they're saying, oh, look at this, we got this new, we're going to client, we're going to this, and we got client service, and we got a whole new technology and all this stuff. Everybody's focused on that. And the guy down the stockroom says, anybody getting me a better pick list? Is there something better coming out? The way we print out shipping papers is horrendous here. And I never have the right ship-to address, and freight is always a pain in the neck. And this isn't plugged into the UPS system. And what's going on? And the guy on the shop floor, he's down at this level, and somebody's wondering about how the electrons are going to move through the black boxes. And we need somebody to do that, but we need the majority of focus on certainly the business processes. Education and training was rushed. We even see it in our 30%, 40% of our revenue comes from education programs, and we're seeing companies today, Bob, can you do a 2-day lean workshop in a half a day because we're too busy? We're too busy. And as much as we laugh about that, that's a standard request we're getting. And a lot of times I have to negotiate to 1 day. They start at a half day, I'm at 2, and we go to 1 day because everybody's too busy to learn how to run your business right. I mean, think of the ironic process of that. We have tremendous technology tools available to us today, but they're complicated to understand. People say, Bob, will you come in and help me simplify the business? I say, no, I won't. Business is complicated as hell. I'll help you manage that complication if you want, because business is really complex. I don't have any fairy dust for your plant to take all this complexity out. Hey, you're a chemical manufacturer. You've got 40 regulatory agencies looking down your throat right now. I can't change that. I can't change that. I mean, we could like to bury some of those senators maybe in a hazardous waste dump, but we're probably not going to do that, right? Because they have no reality of what's going on. They've never had a real paycheck in their life. So they don't know how difficult this is for us to be able to do it. You tell me what's going up the smokestack. Oh, yeah, I'll fill out all that paperwork and tell you exactly. I know exactly what's going up there. Sure we do. Look at this other one, long list of problems. Mapping the old legacy system to the new system was done based on technology requirements, not on users' current needs, but especially users' future needs. We oftentimes don't even ask the production control department, if you're a manufacturer, the purchasing department, or the auto entry department people, what do you think we should be evolving to 2 years from today? Is your auto entry department right now an auto entry department, or is it a call center? And are we going to think differently about how we process a call? And is Navision going to be an unbelievable key enabler to totally metamorphosize the entire auto entry process, whether you're a manufacturer or distributor? This is another Aberdeen slide, by the way. Sheldon talked to this already. I won't spend a lot of time on it, but look at the people that did not get any ROI out of this. These are the people, how small, these are the people that got significantly return on investment. 15 to 20% of the people really reap tremendous economic benefit. Now, these other people didn't lose their shirt with this. I mean, it was still probably a good thing. They had to replace their infrastructure and everything else, so it's probably still a good deal. But they didn't slay dragons. They didn't slay dragons. They didn't change their company. They weren't world beaters. It was probably okay. This is the okay group. By the way, there's not a lot of failures today. There's not a lot of risk with failure and that kind of stuff. But are you going to dream? Next generation manufacturing, here's some of the reasons, and Sheldon talked to some of this. There's a tremendous amount of data up on websites if you want to see this, by the way, about next generation manufacturing, a definition of it. Back in the mid-90s, there was a group called the Agility Forum out of Lehigh University, the Iacocca Institute, tried to define for 10 major manufacturers, GM and Chrysler and Kodak and Texas Instruments, Motorola, some of the big guys, put millions of dollars into this think tank and said, define for me what the heck next generation is. What do we need to worry about in 2005 and 2010? And they came up with some things that said we got to change their thinking. And they said there's some basic truths. The first truth is increasing customers' expectations. Customers have unbelievable expectations. It's going to get worse. You can own a car with 100,000 miles on it. When the brakes go, you're bullshit. You don't want your car to break. Your expectation is that car will never break. That's your expectation. Your customers, by the way, when they call you, their expectations are you have that on the shelf ready for them, that you've just been hanging around waiting for them to call. And that you could understand this. They're expecting you to have that. And it's going to get worse and worse. SKUs are proliferating. SKUs, stock keeping units, the number of part numbers. Most people, by the way, if we look back 10 years ago, you've got 10 times the part numbers. An A&P supermarket 10 years ago had about 20,000 SKUs. As a Walmart superstore now is 100,000 SKUs. We want choice. And that means you need way more product ranges, you need much smaller lot sizes, and very short model life. If you call Dell and order a computer right now and 3 months later you can never get that same model again, they're on to making something else. So that's a fact of life. Ease of access to global production networks. It's unbelievable. If you're a manufacturer, somebody comes to you and you can't supply it, they'll go to China and get it. It's easy. When I first got into this business, I got out of college, I went to work, I was working in purchasing, and I had a fortunate thing in my second year of business. I went over to Portugal to buy some castings for a large valve manufacturer. It took me about 6 months to get castings. And that whole process today would be I go up on the internet and I put castings, Portugal. I'd get a company, I'd send them an electronic blueprint, and I'd have some samples in about a week by air freight. I mean, that's the process. So the whole world's changing on us there, the ease. Outsourcing, becoming a way of life. Don't fight it. We got to do it. Whether you're outsourcing the cafeteria, whether you're outsourcing the cleaning department, or whether you're outsourcing major manufacturing, engineering, and distribution, it's with us. We got to find out the key enabling tools that we need to manage that. Everything is a commodity. Many of you in this room won't like to hear this. Almost everything you sell, your customers can go somewhere else and get it. There's almost nothing unique today. And if there is, it's only unique for about 10 minutes till somebody knocks it off, figures a way around the patent. So we've got to say, if that's true, everything I sell is a commodity, what are you going to do then to differentiate? Is speed going to differentiate? Is transparent business system, ease of ordering? You distributors, by the way, we've got a little slide coming up. You distributors, you've got to really think what your competitive edge is. Your competitive edge is not supplying your customers with product. Your competitive edge is to supplying them with processes to get rid of their processes. I'll do those processes for you. I'll process your purchase orders. You don't have to do this. I'll look at your system every day and process those purchase orders. Now you've differentiated yourself. Otherwise, you're selling light bulbs like everybody else. Massive disinflation in the marketplace. The major juggernauts of retailing, the Home Depots, the Walmarts, the Kmart's coming in, the Walgreens and pharmaceuticals, our CVS is coming in, causing phenomenal disinflation in the marketplace, price rollbacks. Great for the consumer, terrible for the manufacturer, by the way. Years ago, we used to be able to raise prices every year. Now we're seeing tremendous price rollback. We are seeing a little bit of firming of pricing this year, but only because of supply shortages, serious supply shortages of steel and corrugated paper and that kind of stuff. But other than that, there will continue to be massive disinflation in the marketplace. Environmental and recycling issues are becoming far more complex. We need to have some really elaborate systems to handle that. Ability to process information to treat masses of customers, of individuals. If you're a distributor, that's your job right there. That's your vision. You throw away your vision statement. I don't know what it says. That's your job right there. So I'm going to treat every customer. I'm going to give all my top customers, I'm going to give them their own website. They can order directly, $39 a month. You can give every one of your major customers their own website, and you're going to communicate with an entirely different vision with them. You're going to tell that customer that they're not a me too. You're going to differentiate. You're going to handle them. They're going to see what they want to see when they dial up. If they only buy light bulbs from you, when they go up to the website, they're going to see light bulbs. They're not going to have to go through 99 pages of stuff. That technology is all available to us if you want to dream. If you want to dream. Next generation manufacturing, serious increases in energy costs, basic commodity items, steel, paper, and resin. That's going to continue, by the way. It's going to seesaw all over the place. We do not have any idea. There's no economic model anywhere, by the way. It's going to tell us what's going on in the Far East right now. It's just not China, by the way. It's it's the Malaysias of the world, and it's the Vietnams of this world. Vietnam's supplying something like 90% of all footwear coming into the United States right now. These people are consuming phenomenal amounts of raw material for us right now, which is going to raise raw material supplies and shortages for us here in the United States. Constant training and retraining being done because of business layoffs, downsizing, and technology. Computer networking and telecommunications, accelerating the pace of change. We used to be able to run a turret lathe out on a factory floor with a high school graduate. Now the turret lathe is full of computer equipment on it, and we need a 2-year technical graduate with unbelievable mathematics skills by now to run a basic machine tool on the factory floor. And also, we still don't understand the impact of this yet. Most of us that really believe in free trade and everything thought a lot of the foreign trade agreements were going to be good agreements, the NAFTA stuff and whatever, and hasn't turned out to be the case. We don't know if we're going to be a free trade society. We're seeing just all these barriers and goods coming in at the speed of light. We don't know, but they're all there. That advent of the euro and the euro demand around the ISO 9000 certification process really came out of the euro process. We've got all of these things. Next generation manufacturer, we're going to have to figure whole new ways to manage that euro. And regulatory and compliance issues are driving us all crazy. Whether you're a pharmaceutical company, a chemical company, or whether just somebody going and retailing, and you're going to start putting RFID technology on all the packaging. This is unbelievably complicated business today. Next generation manufacturing. You want to read this. This is some great stuff up on websites, by the way, about NGM. You want to take some time to go over that. Okay, order to cash. What's the dream? We're going to rethink the business. Order to cash. What's on the front end of the business? Quotations. Undreamed of speed. Order entry, by the way. All orders will be entered when somebody on a headset online. We will never take an order and somebody write it down and enter it into the system later. What's your business optimization around order entry? Customer relationship management. Look at all the tools we got in Navision. Who's doing all the outbound contacts? Who's doing all the mailing and all this? We've got stuff for sale today. All the relationship selling. All the tools that we've got in that wonderful system right now. What's your dream for all of that? What's your dream for following up on quotes? What's your dream for managing all of that? What's your dream for demand planning? And demand planning, by the way, isn't just forecasting. It's calling the suppliers and calling distributors and everything else and asking them when the next time they're going to order. And oftentimes generating the order early. It's unbelievable proactive outbound management of the supplier base. That's what demand management is. And am I going to have a dream for that? Salesforce automation. What do I want on that Salesforce? So my salesmen aren't technically qualified. They don't like computers. Salesmen are motivated by money. Okay, make sure that computer is generating money for them. And almost every salesman today has grown up in an aura of technology. Okay, they'll use that system if there's something in it for them. And you better start defining what that Salesforce is doing. Just like you're asking that worker on the shop floor to make more clocks per hour, you've got to have that salesman more sales calls per hour. Okay, I want that salesman to be a lot more productive. And how is that salesperson going to do that? With some of our new technology and automation. Lean ERP, what is this? Whether it's on the factory floor or whether it's on the distribution floor, how are you doing all your planning and inventory control? Your purchasing systems, are you dedicating yourself to paperless purchasing? All A items will be Kanban control, all B items will be auto MRP, and all C items will be breadman control. And you have a dream around that. Your shop floor, stuff moving at undreamed of speed, cellular technology, packaging and everything being done right in the cells. Last operation, packages, prints out the shipping papers and everything as everything's packaged and goes to the shipping department only for freight consolidation. Have you got a new vision for how you want to handle this execution? Receiving, all of your A suppliers bypass receiving and deliver everything to point of consumption right to the first work cell. If you're a distributor, everything all A items are cross-docked or shipped direct. Do you have part of that dream? So we talk about optimization. We're talking about going into a company right now and saying, what are all the tools we've got? What are your current processes? And what do we need to do to take these to an unbelievably different level? Look at all the support issues that are in a company. The rapid database build. How do you handle part numbers? We see this all the time. Somebody orders something new. Got a new order for something. They got to put a part number on it. We say, well, did you enter the order today? Well, no, order entry can't enter the order. We don't have a part number. Why don't you have a part number? Well, I'm not authorized to get a part number. I have to go to engineering. And there's a whole bunch of things in queue. So I say to the order entry woman, well, are you a moron or a drooler? Why can't you get a part number? Well, how long have you worked here? 20 years. Well, they don't trust you. They should fire you then. They should fire you. I mean, you're not smart enough to get a part number, and they don't trust you, so you're not smart, and you're not trustworthy, you're out the door. Adios. Talk to you in Spanish. I mean, what are we doing? And by the way, these are the things we do. We put all of these barriers to speed in, don't we? By the way, we got a woman in order entry, she could probably put a part number in 10 times faster than an engineer. So we don't have a process documented to do it. We have safeguards, firewalls. What the hell are we doing in business? So we've got to ask ourselves, what are all of these things? And by the way, compliance issues, we're not going to get around those. A tremendous amount of compliance issues, depending if you're a medical instruments distributor or manufacturer. You've got a whole bunch of compliance issues there. We have a whole bunch of compliance issues in retailing now that we've got to get at. New product introductions, screaming new products through the planted and dreamed of speed, rapid customization of product. Department set up just to handle this. Somebody wants a standard product slightly modified. 1 day lead times. If you're a distributor, this is unbelievably good margin, this stuff. 35, 40% margins versus your 20% standard margins. Rapid customization. We'll take it in, do it. We've got a whole department to do it. 1 or 2 days out the door. Unbelievably, but you got to streamline it. You got to dream. And product rationalization, by the way, most companies have way too many products. Got to really sit down and pare down your product lines. Distributors, you've got too many things to sell. Everybody wants to sell everything. You've got a lot of C items. You distributors, if you're selling C items to C customers, you want to talk to them in Spanish, adios. Go to work for the competition because you can't possibly make any money on selling a $100 item today to a low volume customer. You just can't do it. And then your financials. So you're thinking about a whole new way to run your financials. Streamline cost accounting, 1 and 2 day closings. really automating that entire process. Do you need to help optimizing your system? Ask these 7 questions. Look at these questions. Is ERP helping you improve customer satisfaction? Answer yes or no. Is ERP contributing to increased market share? Can you say Navision is getting me more market share? If it's not, how come? How come? Did ERP help you decrease your operational expenses? Is ERP managing or lowering your inventory? Has ERP shortened your order to delivery cycle time? Has ERP shortened your time to market for your new products? Has ERP helped you achieve a competitive advantage? Is ERP giving you the information and metrics you need? We've got an unbelievable, powerful database in Navision. With a little bit of energy, you can put a dashboard, some metrics together that are just unbelievable to run your company. The information you need, it's all in that box. So you don't need to collect it anymore. You just got to get it out in a nice, presentable form. And some of the real report card, the new report card and dashboard processes are unbelievably powerful right now. And so you got to ask yourself, is ERP giving me the metrics that I need to manage the company? And if your answer to some of these questions is no, then ERP optimization should be on your critical path. A couple of more slides, by the way. What is the process? It's very easy. You conduct some in-depth interviews with key users. And by the way, you can do this. You can hire an outside firm to help you do this, and we certainly would be willing to come in to help you do this. But you conduct these in-depth interviews. You review all business processes from order to cash. That's what we're talking about. The time you take an order, some people do quote to cash. From the time you put a quote in to the time you get the cash, what's all the nonsense happening in the middle, and how are you going to streamline that like crazy? What's your dream for every one of those? Review business processes in relationship to software and best practices. So we said, we're going to take a look at order entry. What's the software do? What are you currently doing? What's the software do? And what's best practices do? Then you're going to review the level of basic ERP knowledge in all areas. And you may find out you have a lot of people managing elements of your Navision system, by the way, that really don't understand much of it. They understand some of the transaction processing and that stuff. Really don't know how to use this as a key enabler. Then you conduct detailed review of the system's order modifiers, your lead times, your lot sizes, your safety stocks, your min-max multiples, your bills of material, your units of measures. You prepare detailed value maps of all your key business processes. And this really looks complicated, but if you really sit down and organize around this, what you will end up with is an unbelievably powerful tool. Next one, you prepare a departmental review of systems functionality. You'll assess your system's parameters and their ability to meet your business and departmental goals. What are your departmental goals? 80% of all purchase orders I want to get rid of. Do you even have those goals? We're going to show you goals for a distributor in a few minutes. And then you prepare an ABC analysis. And that ABC analysis, by the way, those of you who haven't done this, whether you're a manufacturer, distributor, you take all of your products, you do an ABC analysis, you do an ABC analysis of your products, you do an ABC analysis of your customers. Then what you say is, I'm going to develop around that an inventory philosophy. A's are going to have very little on the shelf in days supply, because we're going to have A's coming in all the time. We're going to spin my A inventory like crazy, which is just the opposite of what most people want to do. The A items, they think they want a lot of. A items, you get a pipeline coming, spin the A's. B's and C's, order 6 months supply and get them out of your hair because you don't have time to manage them. But B's and C's, 15% of your dollars is a B and 5% is a C. Forget trying to manage that even. It's not worth even trying to manage. Now look at your inventory philosophies. Now our customer service philosophies. Customer service philosophy says, if it's an A item, I'm going to deliver 95% of an A item off the shelf. If I don't have it, I'm going to deliver it in 5 working days. But a B item, I'm going to deliver that 90% of the time off the shelf. And if I don't have it, it's going to deliver in 10 working days. C item, I'm going to deliver that 70% of the time off the shelf. And if I don't have it, I'll quote deliver because I don't have any idea when the heck I'm going to get it. So you've got to have those rules. If you don't have those rules, by the way, what does sales think? Sales thinks you're going to have everything all the time. So you've got to have rules. And then that's those customer service philosophies. Then you're going to have a manufacturing strategy. If you're a manufacturer, how you're going to make this on the floor. You're going to have an expediting strategy of which things to expedite first, second, and third, which jobs to combine. You're going to have a purchasing and supply chain strategy. We're going to show you one of those in a minute. You're going to have a distribution strategy. All of these need to be different based on whether you're talking about an A, B, or C item. That's how you use the powerfulness of Navision. So if it's an A item, we're going to distribute it this way. If it's a C item, it's going to be distributed this way. If it's an A supplier, it's going to be automatic MRP, and it's going to be Kanban that we're going to get it in. It's a C supplier, we got a whole other technology. so that you define this. And then you also will have a sales and marketing strategy for all of this, what you want to sell. You never want to encourage salespeople to sell C items to C customers. Number 8, part of this process, document the as-is baselines. How are we doing for time, Bill? Are we still okay for
10 minutes?
For time 10? Document as-is baselines. So where are we right now? That previous slide, I did the ABC analysis. I found out where the heck we need to be. I tried to develop some business rules and think outside the box. Now I'm going to document my as-is baseline. Now I'm going to establish my user interview schedule that we talked about. I'm going to sit down and interview the users. Now we're going to prepare value stream maps of all the information flow and product flow in an as-is form and a to-be form. Say, what's my dream? I'm going to get rid of 50% of these boxes. My dream as a distributor, my dream as a manufacturer is paperless purchasing. Okay, how the heck are we going to do that then? Does paperless purchasing mean getting rid of 100% of the purchase orders? Probably not. But does it mean getting rid of 80% of the purchase orders? Yes. Yes, it does. So then how will we define that then? What are the boxes going to look like so we can do the dream? And what are the key enabling tools that are in that Microsoft has or that Navision has? Because there's some both, some Microsoft portal tools and all of this stuff so we can communicate back and forth. Might not be embedded right in Navision. You want to use some of those other tools. It says, what are we going to do then so that I'm living this dream? So that I'm communicating up and down my supply chain in a totally different way. And then you're going to brainstorm your policies and procedures and business rules to support today's business needs as well as tomorrow's vision. Because you got to run a business today and you got to document how you're running the business today. You'll conduct some new education and training. Then you'll populate all the ERP modifiers. Now that you have a dream, you're going to put all new lead times in. Lot sizes and safety stocks and min-max multiples and pallet configurations and all the things that you need to run the business. We go into companies, basic things, and the ship-to addresses are all wrong. Some companies, by the way, are dealing with customers for years and years, don't even have their email address in there, in the order entry database. So it says, what do we need to do so we can communicate? What do we need to do to make this system a key enabler? And by the way, you don't rebuild this in 2 months. You build this over time, but you do take your major customers, your major suppliers, your top 10 or top 20, your major product lines, 20% of your part numbers, 80% of the dollar volume, and you concentrate on that. And it's unbelievable, the new thinking that can cause product to flow into your company. And then once you populate all those ERP modifiers, then you document all the sustaining processes. When this team goes away now, what do we want to do to make sure that, is there a process every 3 months to rerun ABC? Is there a process every 3 months or 6 months for product or customer rationalization? And you should be dropping customers, by the way. You should be consciously dropping customers. Okay, you manufacturers in particular, if you're manufacturing a C item, a very low volume item for a C customer, you've got to do a cost analysis on that. You are losing your shirt. There's no way you're making any money on that. There's no way you're making any money, and you've got to really start to face that. Nobody wants to give up business today. You're not Walmart. When Walmart, people go on the shelf, take the stuff off the shelf, and pay with a credit card. When you take an order in manufacturing, if it's a $100 order, you're running that through an order entry system. You're generating purchase orders, production orders for that, assembly orders, pick lists, shipping papers, invoices, collection, and all of this. It's a $100 item, and at best you got a 35% margin. You're making $35, and you're generating at least $500 worth of paperwork for a $35 item. If you're doing 5% after-tax profit, you're really making $5 on that $100 item. And you got hundreds of dollars of paperwork. You've got to sit down and do this. You've got to understand your business. You've got to look at this software to help you be a key enabler. So you're challenging those business premises. You distributors, it's even worse for you guys because you're really trying to be all things to all people. And somebody comes up and they want a $50 light bulb and that, you're really trying to satisfy that, and you're going to be darn careful. There might not be an effective way that you can get a $50 item out the door anymore. So you'll need to challenge yourself there. I want to just give you a little bit of a motivation. When you're doing ERP optimization, whether you're a distributor, whether you're a manufacturer, this happens to be for a manufacturer, we're going to do one for a distributor in a minute, says, here's my statement. We make all of our clients fill out these statements for all their major departments. As your purchasing department, tell me what you want to be when you grow up. So in this instance, this company says, all A suppliers have been value stream mapped and non-value activities have been eliminated. There'll be no buyer involvement for A supplier releasing. If I've got an A supplier out there, your top suppliers, That'll all be released automatically through Navision. Press, every time there's an alert, planned order comes out, it automatically goes to the designated supplier. All A suppliers have service agreements, not purchase orders, service agreements. No service agreements define vendor-managed inventories, consignment, productivity. They're evergreen, they're constantly renewable, and they have schedule agreements. What's the shipping times? All A suppliers, short-term demand is work center one consumption or Kanban supermarket. What that basically means is, when I want something, the alert's going to come out of the system, tell the supplier that I need it, or we're going to send the supplier work center one's dispatch list if you're a manufacturer. Supplier's going to see what work center one needs and replenish based on that. No purchase orders. Now I've got my supplier network totally synchronized with my shop floor, with my factory. Same day or next day delivery for all A supplier demand. Most of the time, what we want is same day. We want the supplier by MRP system to run at night. Supplier comes in that morning, especially if it's a distributor, looks at the demand, and by the end of the day, supplying that product. That would be the perfect system. Look at this next one. Key suppliers feed supermarket or point of consumption buffer areas. And what that means is all your A suppliers never deliver to a warehouse or to a receiving area. Their people bring it in and put it at point one, point of consumption. If we're bringing in corrugated, we're not moving it to a warehouse, we're moving it to first operation. And they're going to have their truck driver do it. You know what happens in American industry? Their truck driver's standing around like this, and your receiver's running around like crazy trying to unload the truck. You're paying for that truck driver, tell him to put it where he needs to put it. Those are the things we want to negotiate. That's the vision we want. All pallets are pre-labeled. We're not doing any labeling when a pallet comes in. You've all got labeling systems and putting cards and all of this stuff, but so don't all of your distributors and suppliers. Tell them to label everything. All the A suppliers are certified, so there's no inspection, there's no counting, everything moves directly to the factory floor. All A suppliers have qualified specifications. Sometimes we don't give our suppliers really good blueprints or whatever. Let's have them mark them up and let's get all of those blueprints right. All A suppliers have standard delivery schedules. B suppliers will use auto MRP. This might be some type of Kanban or dispatch list. B suppliers will use auto MRP, and C suppliers will use breadman deliveries, but we're not going to have purchasing involved in the routine of day-to-day ordering of parts. That's the dream for this company. That's the dream. So what we really need to ask ourselves, are these dreams reasonable? If they're not, by the way, if you don't like these, come up with a new one, but you got to have one. See, that's what's missing in ERP installs today. You distributors, the traditional cost reduction things are going to change. You're going to talk about supplier reduction. You're going to go to your manufacturers, your customers, and say, reduce your suppliers, I'll take on all of that stuff. Here's one-stop shopping right here. I'll be your stop and shop. Inventory reduction is going to go to inventory elimination. You've got to say to them, I'll take over your inventory management. I'll own your inventory. Warehouse stocking, forget that. We're not going to have any of your product as a distributor move into a customer's warehouse anymore. You're going to service their bins. You're going to own that inventory until they consume it. You're going to get rid of their complex systems, and you're going to go seamless. No more quotation systems. You're going to have an evergreen contract with them that says, when you need something, I will send it to you, cost plus 15. You don't need to quote anymore. Here's the agreement. Cost plus 20. This quotation thing is killing both of us. Lead times, by the way, are transparent. You as a distributor, you get an order and you deliver same day, next day. Transparent lead times. We don't talk about lead times. We talk about like you're right down the hall. That's a dream for your distributors. Look at the common material flow process. By the way, we had a whole workshop around this, but material flow comes in for a distributor, requested source, order received, transfer cycle counted, work order prints, parts collected, parts kitted, and everything. A $20 item is handled the same as a 2-cent item. That's all the processing that's going on to handle a normal requisition. You distributors are going to say, when they requisition, I'll put the kit in the line. And you as a manufacturer, I'm going to get rid of all of those processes for you. This is what I do. I don't supply parts. I eliminate headache for you. I give you a competitive edge. I take all of that stuff out. This is what I do. This is the value that I add to you. This is why you should buy from me. See the difference in thinking? Anybody doing that right now? Anybody have an active program trying to get rid of processes in your major accounts? Process thinking, grand slam home runs there. That's the differentiator. If you're a distributor, your customer focus must shift. Look at this. Forget what they buy from you. You've got to ask what you want to manage. What do they want you to manage? That's all those little arrows in the middle. That's the biggest issue that you've got. Your focus must shift from what you can sell to your customer to what you can remove from your customer's process. And Navision will have phenomenal tools. And the tools that they don't have are easy to customize and bolt on so that you can live your vision. You've got some phenomenal easy tools. I'm not here to sell Navision or Microsoft or anything else like that. You've got a world-class modern manufacturing system that you purchased. And it can do anything you want it to if you have that dream. If you take that time to have that dream. Your system must become a key enabler to support those first two dreams. I'm going to just show you two examples, then we're going to wrap up. First, this is a board repair team. This is a company, by the way, dealing with a distributor making a very elaborate board. It's a $20,000 board that goes into a very elaborate piece of testing equipment. And their total cycle time was 17 days. And this is the value stream map that they did. Their total processing time was 23 hours, if you look up in the corner. And these are all the steps it took to make this board. Unbelievably complicated, by the way, not to make the board, to repair the board. And obviously, you've got a 20,000 board, there's something wrong with it. You've got to salvage that. After the 2B done, we said we can now change that from 17 days to 4 days, 3.57 days. We can take that time out. We could also brought the processing time down from 23 hours to 18 hours. But you notice before we had 23 hours. If you look at the one before, we had 23 hours. It was absolutely ridiculous. We had 17 days to do a process that took 23 hours, but we're moving it between buildings. Those trucks and everything show moving it between buildings and everything else. It was absolute headache. But what did that really do for us? This was the home run. This was the home run. These are the inventory levels. Our standard inventory levels, that red line going, we had 1,000,006 inventory in that work cell, in that stream. And when we put on this system, we were averaging about 600. We pulled $800,000 worth of inventory out of that stream by thinking differently. Remember, a day of lead time is a day of inventory. You got long lead times, you get inventory all over the place. You shorten that lead time and you figure out flow, you'll get rid of a lot of inventory. It's $800,000 in cash that company freed up. Over $100,000, by the way, of inventory carrying costs go right to the bottom line from an optimization process like that. Unbelievable home run. If you look at one other, by the way, we make all of our clients to do a before and after. Standard MRP. Looking at, say, we're going to go in and optimize it. This was working very closely with a distributor that was doing some value-added tasks. Here was all the old lead times. The number of systems in the pipeline was 14. With the 14-week lead times, brought that down to 2 weeks. Manufacturing lead times went from 6.5 days to 4.6 days. 5 items, we dramatically reduced the lead time. 14 weeks lead times for the longest lead time item was a power controller, going down to 6 weeks, 57% improvement. Value of the power, they found out that they were buying, they could buy a power controller with a few less features and it would be just as good. With the difference in cost, what that added over the period of these 14 systems. 13-week lead time, unbelievable liability in the system. For this block assembly went to 0 liability. They won't let me say what the cost savings there was, hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you want to get creative, you can do it. You can do it. You've got key enabling. This is all thoughtware. Get in there, re-rationalize that system, talk about optimization. We are going to use this system as a competitive edge. Managing changes like wrestling with the gorilla. You don't stop when you get tired. You stop when the gorilla gets tired. And that gorilla ain't going to get tired very quickly. This is a tiresome process, but if you do it, you will hit grand slam home runs. Why doesn't change happen in some companies? This is pretty interesting overhead. First of all, you've got to have a vision of the future. I tried to give you that a little bit today, take a little more time, but say there's a vision, we can do some better things. That's pretty easy. Path of low risk. Hey, this is low risk, buying the vision. These aren't expensive. These are very little hits to the bottom line when you look at depreciating software today. There's not a lot of risk of installing software today. We can do it right. Why people don't change is because they're really not discontent with the present. The way things are going are sort of okay. We're making a bug. It's a little tough. We got to lay off, but it ain't bad. We hear it all the time. We're not here. Now, if you're in Chapter 11, most people gladly do this and come up with a whole new vision because the courts have even said you got a bad business model. But most people have real difficult time getting change because they're really not discontent with the present. You've got to cause that discontent in your companies. You've got to go back and say, we're not running this business like this anymore. This is absolutely crazy. There's a book out, Managing Change, by John Clotter. He talks about introduce a significant emotional event into your company so that change will occur. I want to leave you with one last thought. There are two ways to get on top of an oak tree. You can climb it or you can sit on an acorn. Both will get you there, slightly different speeds. Slightly different speeds. Your challenge, you can come to these workshops and get motivated and everything else. You're going to go back and do something and make that change. Put that shock into your company. You can't just let some crazy guy from Boston with this funny accent come in and tell you you got to run the business differently. You do have to run the business differently. You do have to get creative. And if you do it, there'll be a tremendous amount left over for the next generation and the next generation. We're going to survive in America. We're going to do the things right. We're going to be an unbelievably robust economy for a long time. We're going to figure it out. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. The laundry man.
More giveaways.
Thank you, Bob. Isn't he terrific?